Chapter 1. The Artist. It all starts in 1964 in New York when Andy Warhol brings a famous Brillo box in the Staples Gallery. The Brillo boxes were, of course, by form and outlook identical of a commercial product that one could buy at the supermarket. By doing this, Andy Warhol appropriated for the first time a commercial object and brought it in the art world. Chapter 2. The Philosopher. The Philosopher is nobody else than Arthur Danto, a philosopher at Columbia University who saw those Brillo boxes and who was immediately struck by the phenomenon of them. And it was the whole community of collectors, spectators, philosophers, artists, and the public at large who should decide if something is an artwork or not. That was, of course, an important shift of paradigm. Chapter 3, the director. The director is Pontus Hultén, the famous director of several international museums. And Pontus Hultén made more than 100 fake Brillo boxes in the late 90s after the death of Andy Warhol. The only difference between the Brillo boxes that Pontus made and the Brillo boxes that Warhol made is that Pontus brought them in the art market without explaining that he made fakes. Chapter 4, the curator. The curator is myself, who asked himself if it would be possible to produce yet another Brillo box without being a crime. Chapter 5, the artist, again. Produce, for me, for this exhibition, 3 other Brillo boxes, not in order to sell them as copies, not to consider them as copies, but to produce a huge painting in which we would see how the painter Rinus van der Velde himself copies this new series of Brillo boxes. It ends again with an undoubtable, unique painting that cannot be taken for a copy and that cannot be taken for a fake. But in front of this painting, we have now 3 Brillo boxes that are, of course, different from the ones that Pontus and Warhol made because they are painted, they are not printed. But that's not the only thing. In fact, we don't know what kind of identity they have. They cannot be called artworks, they cannot be called uniques, they cannot be called copies, they cannot be called simulacras, they cannot be called... We don't know what they are. They don't have any status anymore. We have reached altogether a kind of post-object era where art does not want to be associated anymore only with the notion of the object, with the notion of the unique, with the notion of the expression of the genius of the artist. It is a matter for reflection, and we are certainly not ready with the Pontus Hultén case.